Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first live event of the EmpowerED MOOC, EmpowerED Educators Becoming Pedagogical Mentors for EdTech Co-Design. A warm welcome to our first live event, now that we are in the second module of the MOOC, the live Q&A with the course coordinators. I am Elisavet Vlachou, one of the course coordinators. I'm a project and pedagogical coordinator at the European Schoolnet in the Science Education Department, and I'm currently working on many different projects and initiatives in the STEM field. Today, I'm not here alone, as you can also see. My colleague Jelena and Isabel are also here with us. And before I give them the floor to introduce themselves, we're happy to also have here Isidora Salim, who is the coordinator of the STEM Discovery Campaign, and she's going to talk about it a bit later. So, Jelena, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Elisavet, and very warm welcome from my side as well. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Jelena Milenkovic. I'm also course coordinator, and I'm also operational manager for professional development programs at EUN. I also had the pleasure to work on many MOOCs, and I hope that you find this one interesting and different from the others, and I hope that we can learn together about the EdTech field. It's also a pleasure to have our course moderator, who you met already in the course and the course Facebook group, and I will invite Isabel to briefly introduce herself as well.
Hello, everybody. I'm Isabel Blanco, and I also want to welcome you to the MOOC. I'm the course moderator, so I'm beside Jelena and Elisavet, checking that everything runs smoothly. And right now, I am working as a teacher training advisor. And previously, I worked for 20 years as a teacher in an elementary school. And I also had the chance to participate in the EdTech project, where I had the pleasure to pilot and test a solution. And I had the chance to work with a company and check firsthand how the development of a solution carries on. So I hope you enjoyed the MOOC, and if you have any questions or doubts, I hope today we can solve them. And I give you back the floor.
Indeed. Thank you so much. I also want to take this opportunity to invite everyone to share their questions. You can post your question in the chat, and we will have some time at the end of presentations today to answer them. This session is also being recorded. You can expect to see the recording in the course live event section in the upcoming days. So please feel free to let us know if you have any questions for either one of us. We also saw some questions in the Padlet in the course, so we will address those. So let's start by looking at the MOOC content and timeline. I'm going to briefly go through what you can expect, and if you have any doubts or questions, please feel free to share them in the chat. You have probably seen this timeline already in the course. We are already now in week 2, but all the course content remains open. So if you are just joining us, don't worry. You can always go back to module 1 and you can easily catch up with the upcoming module. We are right now doing our first live event, but yeah, be ready that next week we already have our second live event. And you don't want to miss it because we will have excellent speakers, experts, and Isabel will be there as well to moderate the discussion. Next week, then we will open our module 3. March 3rd is our last module opening, as well as start of peer assessment process. We will explain the peer assessment process in just a moment, and we will go into details about the pedagogical mentor reflective portfolio. I'm sure that this must be a new type of learning outcome for most of you, so we will try our best to explain how to use this template, and feel free again to ask any questions that you might have. So I hope that so far so clear. Everybody is familiar with the timeline, and we can move on to discuss about the course content. I hope you explored the course already. I hope you saw that we have some interesting videos and texts for you. I hope that you also checked out the last sections of each of our module, in which we try to give you guidance on how to fill out the pedagogical mentor reflective portfolio, as well as give you some guidance on the rubric, as the peer assessment has two important steps, not just submitting your work, but also evaluating your peers. Of course, we always at the European Schoolnet value the community, and we invite you to share your ideas, reflections, experiences. You have opportunity to engage with your peers through different Padlets and discussions that we have available in our courses. We also have additional resources, some of which we will mention today, such as the guidelines and the platform. Of course, live events that we have two, the Q&A that is happening right now and next week's webinar, and finally the peer assessment activity. So once you complete all of this, which should be a piece of cake for you, you can earn your certificate. If you are unsure of requirements, you can find this easily in the certification page, but basically the main requirement for earning the course certificate is to submit your pedagogical mentor reflective portfolio and to evaluate at least 3 of your peers. And once you've done that, you will earn the certificate. So let's talk about the peer assessment. I will first talk about the platform and the activity, and then we will have a closer look at the template a bit later on. As I mentioned previously, the peer assessment activity has 3 steps, and they have to be completed in order. So firstly, you have to submit your portfolio. Also, please note that this activity will only be available in Module 4. Currently, we are in Module 2, so you won't be able to access anything. We do invite you to already start working slowly on your reflective portfolios. We hope that you kind of follow along as we progress through the course. However, you will only be able to submit it when we reach Module 4, which, as I already mentioned, would be March 3rd. You will have additional extra week and a half to finish, so the final deadline of the course will be a week and a half after Module 4 opens. So once you submit your portfolio, you will then move on to step 2. In step 2, you will have to evaluate your peers. We already shared the rubric with you. Hope you had the chance to explore it. Maybe you can give me a thumbs up if you had a chance to explore the portfolio and the rubric. Very well. I see some thumbs up. Glad to that you had already a chance to explore them. So you will have to select an option for each criteria, as well as provide written feedback. This is something that is very important, and the peer assessment, it requires these 2 steps to be complete fully. So it's not enough just to submit your portfolio or just to evaluate your peers by just clicking through options in the rubric. It's also equally important to provide meaningful and constructive feedback. We are going to give you some tips on how to do that when we reach Module 4, but I'm sure that you as teachers, most of you are teachers, are already experienced in providing constructive feedback. I also just want to briefly reflect on a question that we received in the course forum. Isabel already provided a very good answer, but I just wanted to further explain. There was a question about how can we give constructive feedback for, let's say, exemplary reflection. The reflective portfolio is different from other learning outcomes such as lesson plan or learning scenario because it really focuses on process-oriented learning. We don't want to, there is no exact product for you to produce, but we really want you to focus on the process. So when we say that reflection is exemplary, that means that the person has taken the material, put it into their context, and provided a concrete examples of how they are planning to either implement or how this topic fits within their context, and maybe some suggestions for improvement. I hope it makes sense. It's a little bit maybe more abstract as there is no concrete outcome, but the idea is that there is a really process behind it, and that it's very unique to each participant. Meaning that we want everybody to take in consideration their unique context, their environment, their interests, their skills, and apply that to the process. I see that we already have a question. Elisavet, shall I address it right away, or would you like me to wait until the end?
Let's keep all the questions to be addressed in the final session, the Q&A. Thank you for your question, and please keep adding your questions in the chat. We will address everything in the end.
We will get back. So yeah, I just made this brief intervention to discuss the rubric, as we are talking here about constructive feedback. So when you are giving constructive feedback on somebody's reflection, I know that it's very individual, it's very personal how to give a constructive feedback on a reflection. You should maybe encourage them to further their reflection by addressing some aspects that they might have missed. It could be still exemplary, that they've done a good job, but maybe you can further expand your reflection by taking X, Y, and Z in consideration. I hope that that makes sense. We can still discuss it at the very end. I will, move on now. So once you have submitted your reflective portfolio and evaluated your peers, then you will have a chance in step 3 to read constructive feedback. Hopefully the good constructive feedback will come from your peers, and congratulations, you will be then eligible to learn course certificate. I hope you are also aware that due to some technical changes on the European Schoolnet Academy, we are no longer offering digital badges, but the certificate has been expanded now also to include additional information in place of the digital certificate. So I hope that the process of going through the course, submitting your work, and finally earning certificate is clear. If it's not, feel free to share. But I will now give the floor back to Elisavet, and I encourage you to post any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Jelena. So we are talking about a new journey for you and for everyone that might want to assume a new role, that of a pedagogical mentor in the field of EdTech. This MOOC is part of this journey so that you are more prepared to assume this role. But here we would like to introduce you to some additional resources that can support you along this journey. And you will find relevant references within the MOOC content to these resources. So in the first place, we have the EmpowerED platform. As you also know, the MOOC is developed within the EmpowerED project. And we also, of course, have the guidelines for pedagogical mentors. You may have already seen references to the guidelines in the MOOC. If not, keep an eye on this, and this is what we would need from you to do, is to reflect on the guidelines, not to learn by heart what the guidelines include, just to learn more and reflect on them. So let's see a few things about these two resources. So the EmpowerED platform We provide the link here so that you can explore it on your own as well. As we say here, it's all about community. The purpose of the platform is to create a hub for all EdTech stakeholders, from EdTech developers to practitioners like you, teachers, headmasters, support organizations, policymakers, and so on, to connect with each other and have access to valuable resources. Within this platform, you have and all interested stakeholders have the opportunity to exchange and collaborate. As part of this collaboration that this platform offers is the community directory. All members that are inscribed to the platform can be found in the directory. So this allows all users to interact, start conversations with each other, since they can easily access to each other. Then we have the resource repository that includes empowered project resources like reports developed within the project, the guidelines that I'm going to mention a bit later, good examples of EdTech implementation, and more career professional development resources, articles, data sets, and so on. There is also the blog that has been developed on the 4 different themes: insights and support for startups, ecosystem and community insights, pedagogical insights, and research and trends. And as we say here, in this EdTech ecosystem where everyone speaks a different language, it is important to bring them together and to provide the conditions for better communication. And within this course, we also bring this up because you are the experts on pedagogy. And in case in the future you will collaborate with an EdTech developer, you would need to find a common language. So as a call for action, after this live event, we invite you to join the Empowered community, to join that platform and have access to all these additional resources. And one note here that you will also find in the final module of this course. We ask you to register to the platform using the email that you used, the email address that you used to register for the EUN Academy and for this course, because in the end, when you receive your certificate, the certificate will be seamlessly imported into the platform, and you will be recognized there as a certified pedagogical mentor. It does not mean that if you don't get the certificate, you cannot join the platform. Of course not. Everyone can join the platform. Everyone can register to the EmpowerED platform and join that community. Just in case you get the certificate from this course, it will be imported there directly and you will be certified as pedagogical mentors. At European Schoolnet, this is a significant commitment and which is currently under construction. And actually, we are dedicated to ensuring sustainability beyond the project's completion. So that's for the platform, additional resources, everything about community on the platform. And you will find there teachers, EdTech developers, more interested stakeholders in the field. Now, about the guidelines. Again, I have the link on this image, and the link is all over the MOOC because we are actually asking you to just go through the guidelines, reflect on them. A few bullet points here of what these guidelines are about. The document is quite big, so you can go through it on your own and reflect on it. So, about these guidelines. The guidelines regarding the role of educators. They emphasize the unique role that educators play in bridging teaching practices and technological innovation in EdTech development. Regarding the pedagogical mentoring itself, they highlight both the benefits and the challenges of pedagogical mentoring, but also give solutions how to overcome these challenges. They introduce some methodologies that can be found in the field of EdTech when we're talking about EdTech development. They also suggest some actionable strategies to navigate the complexities of this mentoring process. They offer tools and guidance, professional development, as you can understand, because we are trying to help educators to identify their role, refine, develop their mentoring skills, whether they are experienced, whether they have done it in the past or not. And just keep in mind that we're not talking to experienced pedagogical mentors. We're talking to educators, we're talking to people that are interested in the field, that are interested into making a difference in the field, and that might find themselves over there, that they may identify that I can contribute there, I can be part of this. Building connections, of course. They focus on fostering meaningful connections between educators, developers, and other stakeholders, because you will see that the EdTech ecosystem is not only EdTech developers or only educators. If we're talking about mentoring, we're talking about the researchers, we're talking about business mentors, and so on. And last but not least, through these guidelines, we aim to empower educators to shape innovative, student-centered EdTech solutions that advance teaching and learning. So that's a few things about the resources that can support you along the journey that you will also find within the MOOC, along with the content that we have developed for the MOOC. But now I think the part that everyone is waiting for. Let's see what this pedagogical mentor reflective portfolio is, how we can fill it in, suggestions, and please do not forget to post your questions in the chat. Jelena.
Indeed. Thanks, Elisavet, for also sharing additional resources. I really encourage everyone to have a look if they haven't already. They will be a very valuable source also when filling in the portfolio. Shall we have a look at the first section of the portfolio? So we are going to break down each section. Of course, you already had a chance to explore the portfolio. The template is available in the course. First, we will, of course, ask you to provide some background information. This will help your peer also to understand your context. As I already mentioned, the reflective portfolio is really focusing on the process, not so much the outcome, but the process. And for that, we need to know the context of each one of you. So by providing the country that you teach, a subject that you're teaching, and your current position, it will make it easier for your peers then to provide you with a constructive feedback. So this is just some background information. Hopefully everybody's clear and knows how to provide their background information. All right, now let's get to the actual content. The first section or unit is about current status. So we really want you to look at the current status of EdTech and the current trends, and again apply that to your own context and to your own interests. So when it comes to developing of your role and essential skills, we have here certain section that encourage you to look at the EdTech and the current trends. So here, if you write something like, I'm interested in AI, I would say this is a response that needs improvement. This is not a response that gives a much explanation about your process or your current status. However, if you elaborated that based on your current situation, and you notice that students' retention falls down, but by introducing certain tools, you are able to provide personal feedback, maybe to students who are struggling with I don't know, reading assignment, for example. So if you cover in steps why are you referring to these specific trends, this is then takes you to exemplary level in the rubric compared to just giving a trend, which is of course not enough and doesn't really explain your process and how you're planning to develop yourself into pedagogical mentor. So this will be something about the trends. Then we have how you then further, if you explain how you are planning to develop your personal skills and have a concrete example by participating in this course. I hope this is the first step for you to get there, but you might underline other professional development opportunity that you are planning to take or you're currently taking, in which you will further enhance these skills that you're trying to develop. Of course, you can reflect on your current strengths, but then identify which are the skills that you could improve. Again, to give you an example of what will be needs improvement and exemplary response in this case, if you just say, well, I'm good at using Kahoot. This is my strength, and I don't need to improve anything. I'm already good. You know, this is really not giving us much information about your process. But if you say that your strengths are working with the tools that have a preset templates, and then taking the already existing content and creating interactive engagement sessions for your students. But maybe you would like to improve on learning more backend of certain apps, or learning how to to improve these templates by creating something on your own. So maybe that will be improving your maybe coding skills or something like that. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but this is just an example. So this now gives us more insights into your personal development and development of these skills. So then we can say, yeah, this is an exemplary reflection or a plan outline for this section. And in this section, we also have desired impact on community. I'm sure that in your schools, you have certain teachers who love technology and adopt their technology. They're first adopters. You might have some that are kind of in between, and I'm pretty sure you have some teachers that are absolutely against technology, and so maybe think about and here again specifically reflecting on your personal environment and how you can work with your communities to ensure that the EdTech tools are used in correct way and in a way that they can support not only students' learning, but also to make teachers' lives easier. So this could be, underlining some ideas how to involve teachers who are maybe resistant to the idea. So yeah, not to go too much into details about every single section, but I hope it gives you a bit of a clear idea what we would like you to reflect in this section.
Thank you, Jelena. So if you can recall, this was part of the first module. So in the first module, we asked you to fill in this unit. But of course, if you have not done that already, you have until the mid-March, until mid-March to do so. So within this module, we are talking about pedagogical theories that you may have already heard about, but now you're just realizing how they are actually implemented in the field of EdTech. And as part of the Pedagogical Mentors reflective portfolio, again, we ask you to reflect on how pedagogical theories inform EdTech design. So in the first, in this table, the first box of this, the first cell of this table, we ask you to identify key pedagogical theories like the ones that we are introducing here, or perhaps that some other pedagogical theories that you have in mind that you believe are relevant to your context. And then we ask you to explain the relevance in terms of EdTech, of an EdTech landscape and current trends. So here you can just say, okay, it's constructivism for sure, that applies, and that's it. This needs improvement, as Jelena was mentioning earlier. We need some sort of more information how you identify that this specific theory applies to your context. And then, of course, you should not miss to add some examples of how EdTech can be relevant in your context. So let's say I'm a special education teacher, and I can tell you for sure that behaviorism works there, and my students love to play games or get rewards and things like that. So it's behaviorism, and then how EdTech applies there. So in the second question, the second cell, we ask you to just reflect on how will you apply them to EdTech, and how would you share this information with the developers. And over here, we need to keep in mind what I mentioned earlier. We do not speak the same language in the field of EdTech with all the stakeholders that they are there. If we start talking to an EdTech developer about PSA or Vygotsky, it would be perfect, but they really need to see, really need to see and find a common language so that your suggestions are taken into consideration and how these suggestions are going to be implemented to develop a new EdTech product. So, for example, you may say that, okay, because we're talking about, I don't know, constructivism, and we want kind of students to be involved there, interactive lessons. Perhaps you suggest the use of interactive whiteboards and so on, collaborative activities on these whiteboards and the like. And in the end, suggest any features, tools, resources that might be needed to implement these strategies effectively. Again, we ask you to reflect even more to specific features, perhaps if we're talking about behaviorism, for example, or I don't know, perhaps, behaviorism, let's say, okay, let's have badges for this quiz, let's have rankings, and so on. I mean, here we are not evaluating your knowledge on the theories. We would just need from you to reflect on how these theories can be applied in the field of EdTech and how you would share this expertise with an EdTech developer. And we will, as I mentioned, we will address all the questions in the final session. And then you may have already seen the rest of the portfolio, and we then ask you to reflect on methodology and data strategy. That Jelena, this will be part of module 3.
Yes, indeed. So We will cover design thinking methodology, and again, we will ask you here to provide more like a hypothetical planning and reflection, as of course you're not maybe currently working. But yeah, we want you to have a cohesive story. So starting from maybe trends, to moving to appropriate pedagogical framework, then it's rooted in these trends that you're interested in, and then maybe a potential solution. We also are going to discuss data analysis and data literacy, as well as some ethical consideration and data privacy. In the Padlet, we had a question on inclusion, how to address inclusion, and I'm gonna say to stay tuned until next week in Module 3. We have also a designated section to accessibility and inclusion, and we give you some tips on which tools to use. But yeah, this is, I think, a very valid point. So then if you, and again, it goes back to your process and your context. If you, for example, in your class, you have students with maybe visual impairment, then the tool that you're that this potential EdTech solution should take that in consideration, and you should address this in your portfolio. Of course, every time when we are working with the data, and one thing also that Elisavet mentioned when discussing the pedagogical theories is that as this process involves different stakeholders, and usually companies, they work well with data, they understand data. They might not understand pedagogy, but they understand data. So that's why this data-driven decision-making is something that we cover, and I hope that you will give it a consideration when we open Module 3, and not to forget any ethical consideration and data privacy are very important, and we as teachers have the obligation to protect our students, in particular because we are working with minors. So please do have a close look to the advice that we give you, and take this in consideration when not just when working with potential EdTech companies, but also when using different EdTech tools in your classroom. Elisavet, you wanna finish the?
Yes, and the last unit, the final unit of the Pedagogical Mentors Reflective Portfolio, we ask you to go beyond, as we say here, and to see if you can craft some content and reflect on how to build the community from that point on. So, as part of this journey, in case at some point in the future you will have this role, you will become a pedagogical mentor for an EdTech developer, one of your tasks that you will definitely know in the beginning of this collaboration might be the development of educational materials that support this tool, this EdTech tool that this developer creates. So, question number one, what are the different types of educational materials you can develop to support an EdTech tool? This is brainstorming and to get your ideas on this. Of course, as we said, when a collaboration starts, these things may change because these are things that will be agreed with the other part, with the EdTech developer. So if you have some previous experience, perhaps you have some experience in doing so, please share it here. So for example, here you may say, okay, I'm going to create step-by-step guides for teachers on how they can use this tool in the future in the classroom. Or I may have some quizzes or assessment sheets, and so on. What challenges might arise in developing material and ensuring accessibility, meeting diverse needs? How will you address these challenges to ensure that materials are effective and inclusive? Of course, we need to check first the context, right? I mean, this really depends on what the tool is about. So Perhaps we need for this tool to have, I don't know, captions or color-friendly designs, or, offer, as we also, and you may also do in your class or educational settings as well, you use diverse means of, transmitting the information from videos to audio and text so that you can cover all students' different needs. How will you ensure these materials are accessible and effective for diverse learners? I mean, this again goes to the collaboration that you have with the EdTech developer. You explain what the needs are. They develop the features that can cover these needs. And then we're talking about community engagement. Community is really plays a huge role within this EdTech ecosystem. So, for example, we say here how you plan to engage with a community of educators, and so on. First things first, as I mentioned earlier, join the EmpowerED community. You will find many, like-minded people over there. Perhaps you will organize some workshops for teachers or engage the broader community of your school, your organization, to be part of this whole process. And of course, writing blog posts, participating in fora, podcasts, social media interaction, and so on. Then reflect on what potential strategies you could use to engage with others, share knowledge, and stay updated on the latest EdTech trends. Again, what I mentioned earlier could be part of this. We just give you some ideas what you can consider here. And then advice for peers. As you can see, this unit, we ask you to fill in this unit in the final module. You will be reflecting, working on the material that we share with you within the MOOC for this new journey. So in the end, this is, again, totally personal advice for your peers. I mean, it could be related to technology, like look for new trends, do things, collaborate and things like that. Or perhaps it could be more focused on pedagogy, learn more, invite people to join. This is totally up to you. So pretty much that's it for the Pedagogical Mentors reflective portfolio.
Yeah,
And
I just want to,
yes.
sorry, Elisavet, just to one more time really emphasize that this is a very personal journey that each of you are taking. And we really want you to take this as an opportunity to reflect on your own practice, on the current trends, on maybe what you consider to be future trends, to align those with your experience as a teacher and pedagogical theories, and as a foundation to any tools or solutions. Of course, always with a critical thinking cap, evaluating a solution at each step by also maybe employing design thinking methodology, or in general data analysis, while of course paying attention to important ethical consideration and privacy, and finally not to stay in your silos but to share your experience with your community and think about furthering the impact with different materials. So it's really about your personal story, and we are hoping to see this reflected in this portfolio, and this will then be an exemplary response or reflection. We hope not to see some maybe generic answers that are found online or something like that. So it really is about your personal reflection and why we want you to go on this journey. I'm sure that you have not always think about these aspects as teachers, and if you wish to embark on this new role that you might have in your careers, we think that by reflecting on this aspect, you can grow and get some skills that can support you in this endeavor. I hope that is clear to everyone, and you don't get only to get the certificate, the course certificate, but you might also get even more awards. And this is all thanks to STEM Discovery campaign, which I'm inviting Isidora to tell us more about.
Thank you, Jelena, for the great introduction and for this great explanation of everything. It was very interesting to hear what is going on in EmpowerED and how you're helping teachers become EdTech mentors. But without further ado, everything you do in this MOOC, all the activities you perform as educational mentors in the MOOC, within the MOOC, or attending even this session, you can share with your peers, your colleagues through the STEM Discovery campaign map. As some of you are aware, Scientix STEM Discovery campaign is an annual initiative, an annual campaign that goes from 1st of February to 30th of April every year. And this year it is co-organized with NBS EdWorld. In addition to this, you can pin all activities that you participated in, organized, or if you implemented activities with your students. All of this you can, from 1st of May last year until the 30th of April this year, all of these activities you can tell us about through the STEM Discovery campaign map. In addition, as previous years, we also have some awards that are awaiting our great participants and the best entries. And this year we have more than 20 Scientix awards that are kind of grouped together into 5 large thematic areas that address different topics of the award. So we have a thematic area that is considered that is relevant for cooperation, integration, and talking about inclusive education, teamwork, and so on. The one that award that Elisavet will tell you more about is going into digital competencies, so how to help students gain digital competence, implement technology in education, and so on. One is about STEM careers. You can help primary and secondary school students meet experts, create career fact sheets, and so on. We have environmental sustainability awards that this is the biggest category. So every activity that you do about environmental sustainability, bioeconomy, nature-based solutions, and so on fall under this one. And we have some awards that are related to community engagement, meaning your engagement within the STEM Discovery campaign. And you, by pinning your activities to the STEM Discovery campaign map and accepting the terms and conditions of it, you are agreeing that your activity will be considered for one of the Scientix awards. And I will leave then Elisavet to tell you more about the EmpowerED Scientix award.
If I'm not wrong, they can be considered for one or more Scientix awards, and the participation in the MOOC, if they get the certificate from this MOOC, they can definitely pin this activity on the STEM Discovery campaign map. But also, we give you an extra incentive to fill in the Pedagogical Mentor reflective portfolio, successfully complete the course, and not only about your professional development, of course, but also to share your Pedagogical Mentor reflective portfolio and pin it on the STEM Discovery campaign map. And this can be considered for this award, the Scientix EdTech Pioneers Award, supported by the project, supported by the EmpowerED project. Where we invite educators that have contributed meaningfully in the creation of EdTech innovation in their activities, to share their contributions. One of these contributions is the portfolio. So in the end of the course, you can add your portfolio to the STEM Discovery Campaign map, and just to let you know here that we will have 2 winners of this award. They will be invited to the upcoming science project workshop in summer 2025, somewhere between June, July, if I'm not wrong. So finish the course successfully and pin it on the STEM Discovery Campaign map. And pretty much that was it. That was the presentation about. Let's check the chat. So we have 2 questions, if I'm not wrong. And I think the first one we have already discussed about this, but Jelena, you can also help us on this. What if we have the portfolio is marked like needs improvement level of the portfolio? Do we still pass the course or not?
Say it depends. If the portfolio needs improvement in every single category, so there I explore the rubric. I don't remember exactly what's the number of categories we have, but it's about 5 or a bit more. So if in every single one needs improvement, I would say most likely then this portfolio would not meet the criteria, and you might not be able to pass. If in certain categories you needs improvement, but in other ones it shows more progress, then I would say that peers will probably give some advice on how to improve these sections, but they will consider that the portfolio meets the requirement, and therefore you are able to pass the course. So I would say, yeah, it really depends. If in every single category it needs improvement, I would say that maybe you need to go back to the drawing board and can scenario. It depends. Sometimes we are able to give a second chance. If you demonstrate that you have improved your portfolio, we could give another chance to submit. But again, then it starts the process.
Thank you, Jelena. Then another question. We have a K-12 instructional coach who works directly with teachers. I'm wondering if I can align adult learning theory when designing EdTech, introducing EdTech. Of course, what we mentioned is that not only the portfolio that we're talking about now or this MOOC, in the future, perhaps, if you would like to pursue this role and if you would like to work in the EdTech field as pedagogical mentors, this should definitely be aligned with your past experience and with your knowledge and expertise, because you go to this collaboration with specific expertise. No one would ask you to learn new theories just to collaborate with something. The collaboration starts because you have this kind of expertise. And if you would like to use this theory in your portfolio, then of course you can, because this is your context. Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe Isabel would like to add something to this. You also mentioned that you work also with other teachers. So maybe you want to share some of your expertise.
First, thanks for your explanations. They were pretty clear and helpful, and I think everybody is going to be able to complete the portfolio with the right words and the right requirements to pass the MOOC and to get the certification. Yes, as I was listening to you about the portfolio, I remember my experience piloting one of the solutions. In the process, we had many meetings with the EdTech company, and we had to provide feedback. We had to test the solution with our students, and we had also to develop some materials for them, like we had to do some lesson planning for them, like using their materials, how to make a lesson plan to use with the kids and to take it farther away. And then we had to provide some feedback on how the solution worked, how the students like it or not, what things work better, what things need improvement. And it was a process that was very enrichment, and it was very interesting to see the process. And then we had some further work going on, because we had the chance to continue working with the company, that some people had the chance to continue and other people decided not to, but we had the chance. I was testing this solution. It was about virtual reality for language learning, but I also had the chance to work with a colleague that was also selected in the previous stage for another solution. In that case, was about a specific hardware for students with disabilities with communication problems. And it was really good because we had some autistic kids and they had the chance to check this hardware solution and see how it worked to have better communication with people. And it was really interesting to see firsthand how these things work and how they can be approved and they can be improved both ways for education. So I think it's really good to have the chance to work with the companies.
And how you can actually shape the new tools that are currently being developed. And what Isabel mentioned here, these are the different tasks that a pedagogical mentor may have in this collaboration with an EdTech developer. And if I'm not wrong, Isabel, all these things are set in the beginning of the collaboration, right?
Yes.
So you will find it in the MOOC, in the guidelines as well, everything. Yeah, you may start this collaboration. Everything should be agreed in the beginning, what your tasks will be. Testing might be there, trialing features, trialing things in your classroom might be there or might not be there. Creating new tools, creating learning resources as Isabel did, or as we mentioned here as well, the pedagogical mentor reflective portfolio might be there or might not be there. So just wrapping up. Jelena,
we only indeed we only have less than 5 minutes left. So for any very, very last minute questions, if you have, post them right away. And yeah, I want to also thank Isabel for sharing her experience. I'm sure that you all found it valuable. And as there don't appear to be any questions, I just want to briefly go back to our Padlet. We had a question there on how to ensure that the EdTech companies are taking this collaboration with teachers in a meaningful way. And maybe Isabel can also confirm, but I think from my experience working with companies, with EdTech companies, they're very eager to have teacher experience and to have teachers feedback. So for the most part, I think they are willing to listen. But however, as Elisavet mentioned, and as it's mentioned in the course and in the guidelines, make sure to have that in your mind. Everything is agreed upon beforehand. So make sure that you are well informed when going into discussion with the EdTech companies, and that everything is outlined beforehand, so there is no miscommunication, and that teacher can make sure that they are taking care, that they are taken seriously. And Isabel, I will also ask you briefly to reflect on that. But the second part of that question was also with this rise of artificial intelligence tools, how to ensure that the tools that teachers are using are ethical and pedagogically sound. And I want to say that we understand that there are many of you in this course, and some of you will probably pursue these new opportunities as pedagogical mentors, but some of you might be just taking this course because you are interested in EdTech. And we also want to invite you to use this course kind of as a guideline to help you evaluate potential EdTech tools that you might be using in your classroom. So which current trends the EdTech tool is following? Do you have desired skills even to implement it? What is the impact that you want to create? Is the tool sound in some pedagogical theory? And then how will you apply it? Does it addresses accessibility or inclusivity issues? So we do hope that for those of you who might not pursue this opportunity, that you will still find the value in the course by using it kind of as a checklist for the EdTech tool. But maybe briefly, Isabel, we only have 1 minute left. Maybe you can reflect on this relationship that you had with the EdTech company, and did you feel like they took your feedback seriously, and that you were heard in this collaboration?
I was very lucky, me and the rest of the people that participate in this project, because it was the Impact EdTech project. So it was officially organized. So everything was very first-hand announced and previewed in that way, because we had all the consent of the families, all the things that were expected from us, how everything was going to work, and everything was written down. So that was very helpful. The problem might be with other companies if it's not something that is officially stated or legally documented. So in that case, maybe you need to be more aware and more conscious about what to sign or not to sign. So I think that you need to have all the things clear and in a written way to be able to save everything and to not have any problems that take away your responsibility as a teacher.
Exactly. And we give relevant tips in the guidelines as well. So
yeah, they
again,
are very helpful. Yeah. Yeah, because
please.
everything that appears on the portfolio about data policies and everything was covered in the papers that we had to sign in order to agree to the contract and to the project.
Perfect. So that was it. Thank you all for attending our first live event within this the EmpowerED course, supported by Scientix. Enjoy the rest of the course and see you next week for our second live event with our experts. Jelena, Isabel, final words?
Thank you, Olo. Yeah, join us next week. You don't want to miss it. I'm very much looking forward to it. And stay in touch for any questions you might have. We are all available. In particular, Isabel will support you in our course Facebook group or other channels. So don't hesitate to reach out. Good luck to everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of the course and this new adventure.
The same
Have a nice
here.
day.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, everybody. Thank
And
you
many
to all the
thanks
participants.
Thank you,
thank
Isidora.
you, and thank you
for
to
also being
Isidora.
here.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. Thank you to
Join the STEM
Isidora
Discovery campaign.
and amazing awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.